I'm Debbie Foster, and I am so excited to be reading with Miss Judy Woodson's third grade class at Southview Elementary this year. When I found out that I was going to be able to read with you all, I went to the library and asked the librarian to help me pick out a book. I really like to read, and I use the library a lot. So we selected Papa's Pastries by Charles Toscano. Do you know what a pastry is? A pastry is a maybe baked or fried item that might be sweet. And so today we're reading about Papa's Pastries. In the United States, we eat donuts and sweet rolls, which are pastries. This book is a story about a little boy in Mexico. So let's get started. Papa's Pastries by Charles Toscano. Miguel awoke before dawn. Kerplink, kerplink, kerplink. Raindrops dipped through a hole in the roof. They dropped one after another into Mama's clay pot set in the middle of the dirt floor. The rooftop was as leaky as an old wooden bucket. Brrr! Miguel dressed quickly. His clothes were paper thin and worn. They provided little warmth on this cold morning. Papa was already awake. He was baking pastries for today's journey. The fire was nearly out, and the once towering stack of firewood was now nothing more than twigs and sawdust. Without firewood, there would be no fire. Without fire, there would be no pastries, and without pastries to sell, Papa could earn no money. Miguel watched from the shadows as Papa knelt beside the fire and humbly bowed his head to pray to the Lord. Papa rose and removed the pastries from the oven. Miguel hurried to his side. "Don't worry, Papa," Miguel thought to himself. "Today we will sell many pastries." Together they filled a large sack with tasty treats and began their journey to 3 nearby villages. As Miguel and Papa entered the first village, Papa began to sing. He was known throughout the land for his wonderful pastries, but loved all the more for his beautiful voice. The villagers sang, they danced, they clapped and cheered. Miguel's heart filled with hope. Surely, he thought, we will sell many, many pastries here. But alas, the villagers said to Papa, "We are sorry, Senor, but we have faced many hardships and money is scarce. We cannot afford to buy your delicious pastries." Miguel's heart sank. He watched as Papa shook hands with one of the villagers. Senor Gonzalez was as thin as a skeleton. Papa removed several pastries from the sack and gave them to the man. "Gracias, mi amigo," Senor Gonzalez cried. "Thank you, my friend." The two men shook hands, and Papa and Miguel continued on their journey. When Miguel and Papa entered the second village, townsfolk flooded the square. They too enjoyed Papa's delightful songs. They sang and danced and clapped and cheered. Once again, Miguel's heart filled with hope. Here we will surely sell many pastries, he thought. But alas, here too the villagers said, "We are sorry, Senor, but we have faced many hardships and money is scarce. We cannot afford to buy your delicious pastries." Miguel's heart deflated. He watched as Papa greeted Senor Vega and his wife and baby. Miguel noticed that their feet were bare and dirty, just like his own. Their clothes were ragged and worn thin, just like his own. Papa removed several pastries from the sack and offered them to Senor Vega. "Gracias, mi amigo," Senor Vega hugged Papa tightly. "Thank you, my friend." The two men shook hands, and Papa and Miguel continued on their journey. When they entered the third village, townsfolk crowded the square. The villagers here too enjoyed Papa's songs. They sang and danced. They too clapped and cheered. But alas, they too said, "We are sorry, Senor, but we have faced many hardships and money is scarce. We cannot afford to buy your delicious pastries." Miguel's heart broke. Papa had sold no pastries and the sun was setting. It was time to return home. Outside their village, Miguel and Papa came upon a tiny hut. It was old and crumbling and barely standing. Papa waved to the elderly woman standing in the doorway. Señor Santana welcomed them cheerfully. "Hola, muchachos," she called. "Hello, boys." She hurried inside and returned with a pitcher of tea. Miguel and Papa sat for a short while. They rested their tired legs and enjoyed the sweet, savory tea. Papa removed the remaining pastries from the sack and handed them to Señora Santana. "Gracias, mi amigo," Señora Santana hugged Papa warmly. "Thank you, my friend." Then Papa and Miguel journeyed home, empty-handed. When they arrived, Mama asked anxiously, "Papa, did you sell many pastries?" "No," he said sadly, "I sold none." "Then where are all the pastries, Papa?" asked Miguel's brothers and sisters, peeking into the empty sack. "I gave them away," he smiled tenderly, "to friends and families needier than our own." Mama threw her hands into the air. She cried, "Now we have nothing. You are very kind, Papa, but very foolish. Kindness won't fix our leaky roof, nor fuel our fire, nor mend our worn clothing." "Kindness is far more valuable than money," Papa replied. "The more you give away, the more you shall receive." And he yawned and stretched and set off for bed. Later, Miguel climbed into his bed, tired and confused. He took a long last look at the hole in the roof. What will tomorrow bring? There was no firewood, and now there were no pastries. What will happen to my family? Miguel thought as he rolled over and drifted off to sleep. The next morning, Miguel awoke to heavy hammering on the housetop. Señor Gonzalez had come to visit. "I am a carpenter," he said, "and I have come to repay your kindness." At noon, Miguel heard chopping in the woods. Señor Vega had come to visit. "I am a woodcutter," he said, "and I have come to repay your kindness." After noon, Miguel heard voices in the kitchen. Señora Santana had come to visit. "I am a seamstress," she said, "and I have come to repay your kindness." That evening, Miguel knelt beside the roaring fire and humbly bowed his head. "Dear Lord, thank you."